welcome to everyone who's attended. It's good to see such high numbers. I'll get straight into it. I know you guys are probably busy people, don't want to waste any of your time. So introduce myself, my name is Tim Barber. I'm the Managing Director of Torix Managed Services, based in Buckinghamshire, and we're a well-established managed cloud and IT service provider for SMEs operating nationwide and also some areas of Europe. Just to let you know, if you have any sort of questions you may want to ask, we're going to do a Q&A at the end, so it's probably best to wait till then, but you can preempt that by using the box, the chat window box to the right hand side of your window. So in partnership with cloud infrastructure specialist ThinkGrid, we've combined our industry expertise to come together to create MyOfficeintheCloud, which we see as best-of-breed cloud computing business, offering consultancy, migration and post-sale support. We started this venture in order to satisfy a common problem we identified facing SMEs that are looking to understand and benefit from cloud computing, which is task, impartial consultancy and guidance to their business in the current minefield that we see being cloud computing. And to deliver on this, this required cloud services on a world-class global platform, and this is where ThinkGrid comes in. Paul Gillis, Account Director from ThinkGrid, who is helping me out with this webinar, will be handing over to him shortly. We'll be presenting to you introduction to cloud, important points and common misconceptions that SMEs need to consider when thinking about cloud adoption, a high-level overview of the wheres, the whys and the hows of cloud computing and how it may benefit your business. He'll also give you an insight into ThinkGrid and the pedigree of the company and their cloud platform. Okay, so just finally a little bit about MyOfficeintheCloud. We're a company that pride ourselves on being a company that will not just supply a service that we feel will not fit into your business model or benefit your business in any way or shape or form. So we're just out to make a quick quid. Like a lot of companies seem to be out there at the moment, with sort of plan through the whole process and see it through to the end. See a common theme runs throughout this webinar and company, and that is that the cloud is for everyone but not for everything, and one size certainly does not fit all. We shall explain more as we progress, so I'll hand you over to Paul, who will take it here. Thank you.
Tim, thanks for the introduction. Yeah, I hope you're all doing well this Monday afternoon for me, but probably for most of you too. If I just get the slides right, there we go. So the first thing to say about cloud computing at the moment, and you'll probably agree with this if you look to the marketplace at all, is that it's a pretty confusing term with many different providers all offering different things and using different language to present what they're doing. So to start things off, it's probably worth trying to define what cloud actually is. And once you get behind all the marketing noise, it's actually a pretty simple and straightforward concept. And I think this definition sums up the cloud pretty well. So the practice of using a network of remote servers hosted on the internet to store, manage and process data rather than a local server or personal computer. So in other words, instead of the IT you use being under your desk, on an app or in your server room, it's being delivered across the internet by a service provider of sorts. So pretty simple and pretty straightforward, really. It's worth noting that even if you didn't realise, you probably already use cloud computing services. So take, for example, Windows Hotmail. Instead of mail being installed locally on your PC, it's being delivered across the internet by a service provider, so Microsoft in this case. All of these listed on the slide are good examples of popular services. These services, as well as many others, have become extremely popular over the past few years because they offer many features and benefits to people using them. And alongside this, they're very cost-effective for the service provider to deliver them because they can do so on a kind of scale to the mass market. But so they deliver economy scale in a kind of service provider-driven model. Is this switch from kind of consuming IT services, not purchasing IT products, is where the benefits of cloud come to the fore. And it's that cloud is kind of uncommon with your average utility, like, for example, gas and electric. So as we talked about on the previous slide, you leverage the service provider's economies of scale, which essentially means you can get access to better IT services for less. You're consuming service rather than buying a product. You pay for what you need when you need it. You don't have to worry about the nuts and bolts behind service, as the service provider is taking care of all that for you. And if you need more or less IT resource, you can scale up and down as you require, basically. So cloud is a pretty logical progression in the supply chain of IT, and it's a progression that your average utility already taken. So take, for example, electricity. So, initially, businesses needed their own source of electricity production, so it's generated by a water bill, for example. So the progress from the world allowed businesses to build their own power generation systems to power large-scale endeavours. Eventually, power generation became a nationwide operation, and businesses could buy power as they needed, flexing up and down that utility, only for the electricity consumed. Aside changing how organizations consume IT, it's also helping to change how people go about their day-to-day business. So up until recently, IT was designed for the most important part of the organization's infrastructure, the office. So this office, for the past 30 years or more, has been essential to a company and being productive. So people in an organization had to work the same hours, 9 to 5 usually, in the same place so that data and comms could flow effectively and efficiently through the organization. In other words, have a plan and structure to allow staff to be as productive as possible. Until recently, this has been the kind of accepted standard for a productive workplace environment, and I'm sure it's one you know and love. So, however, over the past few years, we began to see a change in people working patterns. They're asking for more. They want to work from home, want to work from different locations, less commute, a better life balance, and so on. Cloud is available anywhere you have an internet connection. Alongside the technologies, cloud is helping to create new, more dynamic workplaces, which is helping create these working trends. So companies realize that there's an opportunity here by allowing users to work from home, bringing their own device, to go to a remote office where they live, allow users to be more productive, potentially saving money for an organization, which brings an advantage over their business rivals and hopefully increases their profit margins. In summary, by switching from consuming your IT as a service rather than buying a product, you get access to flexible IT that dynamically suits the needs of the business, while allowing you to transform how the staff go out using their IT, allowing them to get more involved in kind of dynamic workplace that I talk about and kind of be more productive to your business. So that's it from me. I'm going to hand over to Tim now, who's going to talk about some considerations that you need to look at when we're kind of maybe taking that step into the cloud. And you know, I've talked a lot about the kind of the good parts of it, and Tim can talk about the bits that you know maybe you need to be wary of. So I'll hand you over to Tim.
Paul, very much for that. Much appreciated. So Paul says, giving you a bit of an overview of ins and outs of cloud and the concept itself. I'm going to run through some considerations that you should certainly be aware of when maybe adopting some of these cloud services that we'll go through. So the significant benefits of the cloud can tempt many businesses to move quickly to the cloud. While the cloud is for everyone, it's certainly not for everything. So we consider a pragmatic and considerate approach is required for adoption of any cloud service, really. Not all parts of the business that would perhaps benefit from cloud computing, and so constraints that need to be identified. So some of these constraints may be, for example, bandwidth. You may not have the bandwidth. You might not have the sheer capacity on your internet connectivity to deliver such services. So there you go. That's a constraint straight away. Software, legacy applications you may have kicking around that 10, 15 years old, not been upgraded. They can't move into the cloud. they're scalable, they can't be turned into a SaaS model, so software as a service delivered through a web browser. And then you've got perhaps security compliance considerations. So where's your data held? Where does it need to be held? Does it have to be in the UK? Can it be in Europe, US, that kind of stuff? So all sorts of considerations there. And to understand, I suppose, and to internal policies is for you guys to really ascertain where you are as a business. So to find out, for example, your organisation is already using cloud. We discussed earlier some areas that you may not be aware of. You might be doing some off-site backup. You might be using hosted exchange. You might be using Google Mail. And this will help you to identify your business if a cloud model is applicable and will actually work for your business. So identify new commercial opportunities for your business, such as being able to move rapidly into moving new markets, and the speed that you can get your product to market, so e-commerce, anything like that, so it gives you a competitive advantage in those sort of marketplace. And to certainly develop an overall cloud computing strategy for saying where the cloud would fit into your business is key. Consensus throughout the business, people, different departments, what they feel and what they think about the cloud, and you'll get feedback, valuable feedback. They've had experiences at other businesses and so on and so forth, just to address that, to try and ease pain of the change as such. And we mentioned to all business decision makers, key that all business decision makers at least consider cloud computing as a strategic resource. It may not be for you guys, it may be in small bits here and not so in other cases, but it's certainly worth some consideration. So to achieve a successful cloud migration, it is imperative to take good, impartial advice from experts who have proven track record. Some of these may be around understanding businesses and their business objectives, so where your business is trying to grow, where you're trying to grow, and the objectives of your business. Working with a variety of providers in order to select the best solution for your business, so not being tied down to one vendor, being able to work across a multitude or a portfolio of products from all the sort of global vendors out there, and making defining to the business why solutions fit within your business, and then successfully managing these migrations. They're easier than traditional sort of hardware migrations. They're more seamless. It's still managed, and it needs someone to do that and to take that through its life cycle in order to meet the expectations. Then, of course, the ongoing support where required. Some companies may have in-house IT IT departments that you want to adopt and manage the cloud for you, which is perfectly doable. Some may want to call off to a provider. Again, can certainly be done. So, but just make sure that any provider you use or has those options available, and I'm not trying to tie you into you must use us, you must use this vendor, and you must use us for support, and that's it. It needs to be a flexible model. So my next slide goes into into the cloud, and this is a little bit, I suppose, about how we see and how our kind of best practice of moving businesses from what you see on the left of the screen, which is a more of a traditional environment. The server in the middle, the clients are attaching it to it. Over the more cloud-based model, the more dynamic model that Paul mentioned earlier on in the webinar. You can see the users attaching to various services through the cloud, the internet. So here at MyOfficeintheCloud, we offer a portfolio of incremental services that support the pillars of any cloud-based offering. They are specifically designed to help you for your current computing architecture through to just the right mix of cloud computing for your business needs. In order to do this, we undertake a number of key steps and proof methodology for project implementation, which you can see in the middle there. So I'll just run through that quickly with you. We've got benefit and audit analysis, which is an in-depth analysis of your current IT infrastructure, your business processes, your pain points and your expectations. Then we move on to a concept build, which is very important to reassure the business and make sure that the service you receive will work and meet your expectations. While this is going on, we're project planning and designing, which is undertaken for all migrations, no matter how small, and should always be undertaken. Engage with yourselves at this stage to meet your timescales and to minimise risk and business impact. And the implementation piece, the actual doing bit. This can be done in-house, this can be done by your IT department, it can be done by us, it can be done, by both of us. So this is something that can be worked on as a team. And finally, required the training and handover of services. So, we may want to train some guys in how to provision IT services, so you can take that responsibility on yourself. It becomes incredibly more easy to manage and maintain than the traditional environment. So it's a sort of thing, that may not even need, believe it or not, IT skills to provision virtual desktops, hosted exchange. It is all coming down to a bit of a tick box exercise. So some of these on the right hand side there, just to whiz through a couple of these for you. We've got cloud desktops, which you may have heard of before, or desktop as a service, as DAS, as the industry terms know. So these are virtual desktops, that can be delivered securely over the internet to a multitude of devices. We've got Exchange, which I'm sure you're all aware of. Outlook, so a world-class enterprise email system from Microsoft, which sits globally through a multitude of devices. Or infrastructure as a service, highly redundant and scalable server infrastructure. So one of the core pillars of cloud computing. Software service, which we went through, so anything you may want to tap into a sort of a web browser model, so that it can be accessed through a browser or over the internet. And we've got VoIP, again, which is now part of the sort of unified communications package, so it's all another core pillar. So telephony over the internet, virtual PABX, no need to have your PABX on site anymore, you have a virtual one. So none of those costly bills that come with associated with that. And then we've got recovery and backup, straightforward, backing up to the cloud, nice and straightforward. And then recovery, which underpins, I suppose, all cloud services. DR is kind of, inherent in all of the technologies within the cloud, and always should be. And across the bottom, you've got the sort of the big stripe, which is underpinned by our help desk service. So our help desk service is available for all support requests, regardless of vendor. So we manage the full life cycle of any ticket logged and deal with vendors involved on your behalf. So we like to just have one number for you guys to call. Then the server infrastructure. So should you have a hybrid model and some of your legacy apps are still on site, you will have network equipment printers that are still going to be available. I mean, we can't print from the cloud yet, so they need to be looked after, and that's something we can certainly help you with. The other side of the coin, support and maintenance for the cloud computing. Again, we can do that for you. Even if it's provisioning and you want to take that in-house, then something can be put in place to do that. And then we've got, underpin all of this, is the service level agreements. Now, in conjunction with our cloud partners, we offer and provide comprehensive service availability guarantees along the lines of 99% and 100% in some cases, and tailored service level agreements to suit your business requirements, so 24/7 if required. They're all tailored to suit your business. Moving on from there, I'm just going to try and provoke some thought of where we see these fitting in to your office environment on this side here. So if your office looks like this, then you've probably got a bit of a problem. I hope it doesn't. This is just an area where you may see, so if you're looking at the stuff that's orange on screen there, these are the areas where we may see typical office problems. So I'll whiz through it. We've got email servers, which may be reliable, overworked or undermanaged, application servers that become unscalable, unmanageable, or poor performance. We've got escalating IT expenditure, so uncontrollable costs, upgrades and maintenance costs for new and existing systems, unpredictable IT costs such as server failure, so how much could this cost you? It's a bit of an unknown. Could your business sustain this? Security, so the loss of critical business information and data, so a laptop may be stolen or USB key goes missing. Will it be backed up or is it lost forever? With the data lost, land your business in trouble. Disaster recovery, so in the event of a disaster, such as an office shutdown, could your business continue trading? And how long would it take your business to recover, if recover in some cases? And then the mobility and flexible working, which is key, allowing your staff to become more productive by working anywhere. Bring device, which you may well have heard of, it's a bit of a buzzword at the moment. So the bring a device, work anywhere model, goes hand in hand with cloud computing and allows IT departments to facilitate this request and cuts down costs as well. So this would go hand in hand with technology such as hosted desktops, Microsoft Exchange, and so on and so forth. The voice, which you mentioned, so take your DDI number with you, put it on your iPhone, take it on the train. You can all kind of be at your desk, take it home. No need for traditional systems to manage your calls that require costly rental and management, and you get the benefits of cheaper call costs and free calls from maybe your branch office to your head office. And then reduction of the expensive office space, as we all know, very expensive. How many desks you may look around and see empty in your workplace? Do they need to be empty? Do you need that desk? So a flexible working environment promotes, the traditional term of desking. So allowing this means that you don't need to assign a desk to a person. They just need to log in and work at any desk. They're all kind of the same. And then we've got extending the life of existing hardware. So maybe you've got PCs that you're really not in a financial position to replace, but they're really underperforming. This is easily remedied by using perhaps the old equipment to access cloud-hosted desktops again. So, expanding the lifespan of your existing equipment. And then finally, the help desk piece. So maybe you're receiving poor service, delivery support, no delays, or just not hitting targets, the SLAs that are set out in the SLAs. So cloud computing as a whole can pretty much answer all of these problems and scenarios you see above, and often in a much more cost-effective manner. So that hopefully provokes a few thoughts of where you may or may not, as the case may be, have these sort of issues within your office. I hope you don't have all of them. So when we move to the next slide, which is watch it when you move to the cloud with us. So, the cost integration should be minimal, and that goes without saying. With the cloud, we're not moving complicated infrastructure. The infrastructure's there; it's ready to be turned on effectively. So the migration is minimal. It should happen efficiently, and it should happen with minimal effort, minimal cost, and almost instantly. These are the sort of things you may want to pick up if you're looking at other providers, and make sure that this is the case, that you're not being charged excessive amounts of migration, because they should be too costly. Like I mentioned earlier, they can be fully managed by us, or alternatively completed by yourselves, allowing you the flexibility to manage the migration in-house at the speed you choose, suits your business or establishment. Just want to mention really that, for example, the providers like Office 365, the big sort of glass like Microsoft, Google Apps, they provision these services for you, but you're kind of left to your own devices when it comes to management and support. Migration process. So the mercy of large companies with multi-portal access, no one person taking ownership for the life cycle of the problem. They're limited migration help and minimal post-migration support. And quite often, this is not even the right solution in the first place, as they tend to be a very sort of one-size-fits-all offering. Is where we see the service that we can offer being different. We also adhere to strict service levels, as mentioned, and guarantees which can be tailored to suit your business needs. So I hope that gives you some insight into what we're trying to achieve here in MyOfficeintheCloud, and provoke some thoughts and answer the questions you may have. So just make sure really that anyone having your cloud adoption is on top of this in order to meet the business expectations. So we'll just move on now to the Q&A. So we've kind of got through this quite quickly, which is good. So not taking too much of your time, and hope it's been informative. So
we're running at about 25 minutes, Tim. So we got plenty of time for questions and answers.
Do find out how good the presentation was by having questions.
So to reiterate, guys, if you want to ask any questions, there'll be a chat window on the bottom right. So please plug any questions you've got in there. So I'll just leave a few moments to allow people to ask away. We've got a question from John. So John asks, you mentioned about ThinkGrid throughout the slides. Could you explain who they are? Yeah, I guess that falls on my that one. So basically, we're a cloud services organisation that was formed in 2008. We deliver our services through value-adding cloud service providers. So people like MyOfficeintheCloud. So we're part of a multi-billion-dollar organisation called Cloud+Computing+Webinar. And yeah, that's our kind of a business model. So you should kind of have the best of both worlds in that a kind of high level backed services that enterprise class and redundant and best of breed and whatnot, with that kind of local touch that kind of MyOfficeintheCloud provides. So as Tim was mentioning, all the wraparound services that you may require. So we've got a question from Terry. Terry asks, where is my data held? So basically, any service you buy is delivered from a data center in the country that you require, basically. So in layman's terms, so anything, you're in the UK and you buy a service in the UK, it will be delivered from a data center or data centers from the UK. So you don't have to worry about things like the US Patriot Act or things like that. Also, it's data held in highly secure and redundant data centers that have all kinds of security policies inbuilt. So you have to have various levels of clearance to be able to even get near them, basically.
I remember that they're all sort of kind of tier 3, tier 4 data centers, so sort of the best you can get, really, aren't they?
Correct. Yeah. Yes. So yeah. I mean, the bit of background on that is that there's tiering in the kind of data center community. The top level is 4. The majority of services are held in kind of 3 data centers, which is the best you can get if you're not NASA, basically. We've got a question from John again. So what about downtime? So basically the technology that's delivering these services is kind of enterprise grade, and it's kind of a world away from what most small to medium-sized businesses would kind of be able to afford. So it's all delivered on things like SAN, blade infrastructure, and it's all virtual. So not to bore you with the kind of the technology behind it, but it's the enterprise class. It's built for staying up and staying available. And to that end, we provide a 4/9 time service level agreement. So we say that we'll be up 99.99% of the time. If we don't, then you can claim money back off of us through MyOfficeintheCloud. We've got a question from Janet. Asks, do you do site visits? So Tim, do you want to cover that one off?
Yes. Well, the answer is yes. Absolutely. This is that we like to keep personal. As I said, we like to do the face-to-face bit. We're happy to attend site necessary. We're not just a portal. We're actually people that make themselves accessible when required. So should there be a need to come on site, then the answer to that is absolutely.
Okay. So what happens if one of you go bust? Tom asks.
Okay. I mean, I'll cover this off, and I'm sure Paul can back up. Start if MyOfficeintheCloud goes bust, then written into our SLAs and our terms of business, you'll find the terms stating that in the event of us going bust, in the short version of this, obviously, that ThinkGrid will place your services with one of their other preferred partners, so another MyOfficeintheCloud as such. And then in the event of ThinkGrid going bust, I understand that ThinkGrid have another sister company that would step in and obviously over, or you'll have access to your data via the data center. You always own the data effectively, so this could be recovered via the data center should it be absolutely necessary as the last point of procedure.
The only other thing I'd add to that is that you contractually own your data, so you have it whenever you require, basically. Any other questions?
Nothing else, see?
No, I think that's.
All right. Well, forward to a conclusion then. So, I just want to say thank you really for attending. I hope it was informative, and where we are, she says on the screen, give us a call should you require any further information or anything. We'll probably call out you guys in the next couple of days to see if our services perhaps could be advantageous to your business, and just want to say thanks again for attending, and goodbye.
So, all right, thank you much, guys, and you'll be hearing from us soon. So, from me, thanks very much for attending. That's been a good time.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Paul.
Bye now. Bye.